Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Let's All Be the Change. This is my series on great inventions, which I started doing maybe a couple months ago. And today I'm going to talk about what I think was a very important invention, namely the Calotype Photographic process, which was invented in 1835. And this cover slide shows some old, box cameras were some of the first to use this process. So anyway, let's begin. So I'm just going to read you this slide. This is about the history. Although photography had been around for some time, in 1835, inventor William Henry Fox Talbot, shown on the top right, discovered a new process known as the calotype process for taking photographs, which would remain the most commonly used method of photography for the next 150 years or so. And then a picture of the first camera that uses this process is shown on the bottom right. I think you can also see a little picture of his camera on on his picture to the left in here. Anyway, so the calotype process involves exposing a strip of paper. I don't know if it's necessarily transparent. I know that the ones I've always used it was transparent film. Um, Probably was. Covered with light sensitive material such as silver chloride. When properly developed and fixed with the right chemicals, a negative image is created on this film, which can then be turned into a positive by exposing another piece of photosensitive paper to the light that passes through the negative. That creates a positive. Um, and I'm just going to pause for a minute and just tell you a little bit of my personal experience, with film photography. I think those of you who are old enough probably remember film cameras. They were the most commonly used type of camera until the 1980s, probably even into the early 90s. But when I was a kid and a teenager and a young adult, I took a lot of film photographs. I had a lot of film cameras and, use them whenever I took trips. And it was a little bit complicated because I remember I had a Nikon camera that had a light meter inside, and you had to adjust a bunch of things to take a photograph. You had to adjust the aperture and the exposure time, and it would take about a minute or so to set up a good picture. They weren't so easy to take. And they were also very expensive to develop, and they took a long time to develop. I mean, that's why you had to be really careful every time you took a picture with a film camera, because, if you messed it up, there's really nothing you could do about it. Nowadays, with I think just about everybody's smartphone has a digital camera app, and so you can just click away, and it doesn't matter if you screw up a picture, you can just delete it, and they're much much easier to take. And you can do them in a second. You can even take selfies with a stick. This is how photography was done for about 150 years. And my uncle even once had a box camera. I don't know what he was doing with it. It was an old-fashioned model that looked a lot like Talbot's early design, something like the picture on the bottom right here. So anyway, um, yeah. Very very important invention that was used for a really long time, and I think I should just mention one more thing about this. Even though now we have digital cameras, and that's what most people use to take pictures, even movies are made digitally now, because it's so much easier and cheaper. And you can do a lot more with them. You can alter the pictures too. I didn't even mention that about digital photography. I don't know if this is an advantage or disadvantage. I guess it's depending on your point of view. We can fake photographs a lot more easily digitally. But not just fake them, you can enhance them, you can add a lot of special effects you didn't used to be able to do. So, I guess you can say like every other technology, it has its good sides and its bad sides, depending on how it's used. Um, But but there are still filmmakers and photographers who still like to use film cameras. As a matter of fact, my sister did right up until she died in 2009. She was a photographer and an artist, and she always used film cameras. And I've got other friends and relatives who still swear by them and use them. As a matter of fact, my cousin's husband has he really likes film photography. He also likes the old phonographs. I guess he's kind of old school about how art used to be done. Some people are. So anyway, I guess that's everything I have to say about the calotype process. So thank you for watching. Keep thinking, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.